say?
Who's Merriam-Webster?
Come on,
Webster's
Steve.
dictionary?
You've been over here long enough now. Come on.
Is y'all a proper word?
Y'all is a contraction of you and all, sometimes combined as
But
you all.
is it in a dictionary?
Dictionary.
Y'all is incorrect and misspelling of the word. So don't use it. When you think about it, though, y'all makes the sense for how this contract.
All
Is it a word?
It is a word. Y'all know it's a word. Let's move on. Well, so here we are, man. I think we missed a week due to Hurricane Nicholas. He came in and kind of had some people in the dark for a little while. Did your power go out? Mine didn't go out at all.
Huh?
Your power from the hurricane last week.
It didn't. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one of our offices in Lake Jackson, they had a tough time of it. I mean, trees down, trees on houses, electric down. And of course, when your internet goes down, it's even worse.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So we were thinking about all the great agents we got at Olympian down in Lake Jackson, Victoria. They really had it tough. They had no power from the Tuesday to the Friday. They had internet back on Friday as well.
Well, I think we were blessed in that no one had any issue with like injuries or any life loss. I don't think I heard any reports of any of that.
Lucky. We were lucky.
And even these people, folks drive into the water when it's flooding. I don't think we even had any mass coverage of any water or anything like that. So that was a blessing. That was a blessing for us all, and hopefully all of you guys, y'all, however you say it, whatever part of the country you're in, made it out of that whole deal as well. So I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate covering it. Protection.
So y'all did all right with your electric and your
We's did. We's did well. We did well, man. It was
So what's the difference between you guys and y'all?
There's no difference. I mean the same. Soda, cola, Coke. All the terms we just kind of use interchangeably.
What's older, Coke?
You know what? I don't know. I think I would say Coke.
Pepper? Dr. Pepper.
Really?
At one time, everything was called Coke.
Well, Coke, of course, was not.
Dr. Pepper was the first soda.
Wasn't created to be Coke as it is today, but that's another thing. But anywho,
what was it, Jay?
I don't know. It was cocaine, I believe.
And now
that
it's
they put
illegal.
in it. It's illegal, but it used to be one of those functioning kind of drugs. So I digress. Here we are today. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. I have a grievance that I'd like to bring to the table.
Oh, no, here we go.
And you know what? It's not to any one particular person.
Of course it's not. We know. That's why you're asking it and you directed at me.
It's not. I just want to bring it to the table, man. That's what we're here for. We're bringing it to the table to speak about it. So I had a conversation with, let's just call him Person A, who is a loan originator now. Previously was a realtor. Currently is still a realtor, but decided, using his words, this is what he said: I decided I could make a little more money, so I wanted to go ahead and get my originator's license. Okay. And then he comes back and he says, but I found out that you guys do a little bit more work than I thought you did. So my question is, what do you think we do as loan originators? Do you think we just sit behind the desk and, clip our toenails or play, Candy Crush, or what is it from a realtor's perspective? What do you think your loan originator does?
Well, my personal opinion is we have the same problem with real estate agents because they feel that they all money.
Right.
And I really think it's a real problem. I was talking to one of my agents last week, and they are giving advice to somebody buying a property, and the lady has decided halfway through buying a property that she's going to get her real estate license. Now she's reading everything. Her attitude has changed. Oh, well, you real estate agents don't do anything. You know, I've started my classes and you don't do anything. I'm honestly wondering, getting your license is one thing, being productive is completely different. But what people don't understand is the liability. There's a lot of people that do stuff but accountable. But quite honestly, that's the thing with loan officers, loan originators. People don't understand. Good old US of A. Everybody wants to sue everybody.
Absolutely.
But it's the liability that you take on board.
Yeah. And neither side of this is easy. Let's just be honest.
It's not. And there's always more to it than people realize, to be perfectly honest, because dollars.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although you're a high producing loan officer, dollars, because you make dollars, as in, lead loans.
Well,
we know you live on a different level, James.
Hey, man, come on.
But the truth of the matter is, people just don't realize. They think you're making all this money. And go buy yourself some Bitcoin.
There you go. Money aside, it's not an easy job.
Or as Jack says all the time, get yourself some, Ethereum.
Yeah. Money
aside, now's a great time to buy it, guys. Mine did go up this morning.
It is not an easy job, period. So
no, it's not.
That was kind of eye-opening speaking with this gentleman. I never met him face-to-face. We just spoke on the phone. So although it's very rewarding, if you want to get into it, it's not something that is easy.
But I've got to tell you, we've had new agents come work for us, and they haven't lasted, I believe, level of number one item agent. There's so much to it. They've got to be accessible.
Absolutely.
So there you are, eating dinner with your family. You get a call from a client. Oh, I'm not answering the call. I'll call them back later.
Yeah, they're going to call somebody else.
And so that's part of the problem. You can get a call. It's a customer service-based business today.
It is.
And to have the knowledge as well, and that's changing all the time. There's a well-known mentor in the real estate business, and he maintains that the first 30 days of you become a new agent is 5 hours of learning, 4 hours of basic cold calling, 3 hours of going through your system. So by the time you finish, that's 12 hours a day for the 30 days. I understand it, been in the business for so long.
One of your agents in this office put it ever so perfectly when he said, coming into the real estate business brand new, the first year they shouldn't even call you a realtor. They should call you a realtor apprentice, because it's a learning curve that's huge to it.
I actually think that's a really good idea, because our industry changed. Real estate industry has changed so much the last, I reckon, 5-10 years. I personally feel that one of the questions that Texas Real Estate Commission should make agent disclose is, are you a part-time agent or a full-time
agent?
Because part-time agents haven't made it so much difficult that the level of service that they offer at times.
They're kind of muddy the waters.
Professional,
no, I agree.
Full-time agent just trying to do this as a sidekick.
I agrey. It's not a part-time gig.
And that's nothing against part-time agents. We've got some great part-time agents.
Right.
But it's. I think that's a really good idea, Dennis.
No, it was not.
Okay.
It was not. But anywho, that was just a little bit of I wanted to speak on a little bit of real estate there, because this is a lovely industry. Not going anywhere anytime soon.
And it's so nice to...
Very sustainable. We enjoy it, even the peaks and the valleys that we go through. But No, it is what it is.
And we have new agents, on quite a regular basis, and I don't think it's necessarily just from our office, but I think from the stats in the industry are, 20% of the agents do 80% of the business.
Absolutely.
So you better be good at what you're doing.
Agreed. So let's dive in, man. Let's dive into the real good stuff that people really want to hear about. Don't want to hear about us. So your chief Acavedo, that used to be the chief here in Houston, and I think prior to Houston he was in Austin. He went to Miami, took that job. Man, it was like he left in like a thief in the night. One day he was here, and then one day he was not here. But he's facing some scrutiny out there in Miami because he's been shaking up some things. And, where we live today, you can't just walk in there like a bull in a china shop and make all this stuff happen. But apparently, when he was hired, they held him as the Michael Jordan of police chiefs. But Miami folks are not feeling that with him. And now it's surprising because he's from Cuba. Those are his roots, and I know there's a large Cuban population down in Miami, but it's becoming a bit of a dumpster fire, so to speak, when it comes to him being the leader of that department. He's gone in and fired some of the highest ranking people in the department, some of which were minority and women. And those are sensitive areas at this point. Letting out early releases for some inmates out of prison or whatever. It's just been a ball of confusion, so to speak. So if you live in Miami, we're sorry that we passed that problem over to you, but hey, it is what it is. Y'all welcomed them, you took them, you paid them, deal with it. That's your baby to deal with at this point, right?
We all make bad decisions in life.
Well, we do, but we picked up Troy Finner, I think his name is our police chief now, and that's who we deal with now. And I think he's a Houston native. Yeah, there we go. That's who we deal with now. And not to say that our stuff is in order altogether, but we are represented.
But do you not think there's a problem with the police as a whole?
Oh,
throughout the policing side of things. I mean, I'm not saying that bad people. I just feel that the whole system and the judicial system. I mean, you brought a good point up the other day, saying about the judge. They shouldn't be. I mean, I do think that what's the reasons for having more people incarcerated?
We are.
That in itself is $1 million industry. I could never understand personally why it's done by private companies. That in itself is a corruption possibility.
Well, it can be, and the biggest issue with it is it's a fraternity, and they stick together, and it's kind of that idea of a brotherhood, and when you have that.
Videoing has changed that.
It has, but still we get videos years later at times.
Right.
It's like, so who sat on this long that we just got this video of this guy that got shot 14 times, and the video finally, it's uncovered. But it's 2 years later. This happened in 2018. Why does it take so long for someone to speak up and say something about it? So
absolutely.
It's unfortunate.
But I mean, the whole system needs to be, from who was talking about evictions earlier on, because we do property management. One area, it's an 8-week wait and they're doing everything on Zoom. Another area, it's 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
And it's been interesting because some of the people that we have spoke to, they requested help for their rents, but they was 5 months behind before even COVID.
And those people shouldn't qualify.
And that's down to me. That's my fault. So.
But going back to the response to the incarceration thing, I just want to show this because a lot of people don't understand this. The 13th Amendment of the United States is neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or of any place subject to the. So basically, slavery is illegal unless you're in prison. So that's why I think incarceration is so big in the United States, and it's also a for-profit business as well. Which
Right.
is
It is.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
that's what my big concern is. I think it should be something that's controlled by on a federal level. Let me ask you a question, Jim. As a black man, why is there more black people incarcerated in the United States?
Why?
Do you think it's a political? Do you think it's a racial tool, or I personally, I could never understand it, and I could never see why that's the case.
I could say that it's a tool, but could I really? I think, unfortunately, what happens, we can, as a people, are economically affected disproportionately when it comes to, let's say, representation, right? So when someone goes into court that can afford an attorney, I go in there, maybe I can't afford an attorney. So I got to be stuck with this public defender who's really, they're there being paid by the city or the county or whoever. They're getting their paycheck. They're not really there to win the case. They really want me to settle, to plead out. So those are the easiest ones to get through. If I have to get an attorney, that's going to cost me money, and I may not have access to that money. But weeks ago, we talked about the same crime, the lady that was doing the embezzlement or whatever. It's just unbalanced in the justice system, period. When you're dealing with two different people, they don't look alike, but they can be doing the same crime, and just depending on who that judge is, they can be given a totally different punishments for the exact same crime.
So so if you've got a clean sheet and you're the main man, God or otherwise, how would you fix that problem? How would you even make a way to possibly? And we'd like to hear people's ideas in the comments below. That what do you think would be a start to correct that problem?
Well, first, I would do a blanket of these rules and laws that we have now passed. People were locked up before, and now with this stuff is legal, i.e., THC marijuana deal. There's tons of people in prison right now for charges for marijuana, and it's freaking illegal pretty much wherever you go now. It's legal now for people to buy it, sell it, smoke it, whatever. That just needs to be taken off the table completely. The victimless crimes that you have, where you're either doing something to yourself, or you're prostituting, or I don't know, whatever the case is. Those are crimes. They stink, but does that person really need to be in a prison cell for that? So I think it's just a look back at how the punishment is rolled out. And the problem with that is that you have some judges in some of these places that have been there. They've been there for years, and they stay there for years because no one either runs against them or they never get removed. They're just there forever. So you're going to get the same thing year after year after year after year, and there's not a change.
Yeah, I'd say they're definitely, like, black people are definitely affected through. That's how, like, if you back in like the 70s and the 80s, that's how the CIA got involved with a lot of these poor communities, is they were trying to help them drugs in there so that they could arrest these.
Well, there's been proven cases
areas
where the police have actually done that. I mean,
absolutely.
Different law entities, whatever you want to call them, it's come out over the years that they've actually done.
I don't know if we talked about it on here. I feel like we have, but just to throw the story out there,
Oh, in Philly. I just thought about that, Jack. Oh my goodness.
So
I mentioned it to y'all, but
so
Steven never heard of it.
Like, we're not talking out of our butt here. Like, this is a thing that cops did do. I want to say still do as well, but that's besides the point. They literally just bombed the living crap out of this black suburb. Like, helicopters over the suburb, dropping literal bombs. Like, I'm not talking about F-bombs. I'm talking like stuff you put a fire to and it explodes. So, I mean, it's happened. It still does happen. It doesn't happen as egregiously as this, because that proves that there is change, but it still does happen.
So this whole deal, just to give a little bit of background, so if one doesn't know, this movement John Africa started. It was originally they called it the Move. It was a Christian movement of life, and it was a lot of black people that kind of came together, and they were doing it. I thought there was a movie out. I can't remember if there was a movie out on it, but anywho, it was supposedly similar to that of the Black Panthers, is what the authorities were calling it.
They were pro Second Amendment and everything too.
All of that. Yeah. It was a Black Power movement kind of group, right? But they bombed these people and killed these folks like it was the battlefield, and this was in the 80s.
Yeah, this is not long ago at all.
The 80s. So this is a problem, because somebody sanctioned that and said, you know what? Yeah, go ahead, go forward with it, do it. That's not cool. That's not cool.
11 people, including 5 children.
So sad.
Here in these United States of America. So the problem, again, the organization, and it's a fraternity. They agreed. It's a brotherhood. They come together. And I'm not going to paint every cop this way, because every cop's not that way. But someone has to speak up and say something about it. Are they talking about it there?
I want to get a video of the helicopters.
Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess.
There you go.
I think she might have been
muted. Oh, I can turn it.
That was Ramona Africa, the sole adult survivor of the attack on Move 30.
Ramona Africa. Yeah, it's crazy. What's the what?
My question, when you hear things like this, is why is it that in America the police force like this, but in the UK we don't have it?
I don't live in the UK.
Not to the degree. I mean, not to the degree. I've never ever heard of the police bombing. No.
Well, that's because it serves a fundamental difference, right? Like, what is the UK's job as police, and then look at what is like a police jobs in the United States. In the United States, it's more of a military-esque style thing, which is why they have all these government subsidies for these big tanks and all this other stuff for SWAT. Right. Whereas in the UK, they don't even carry guns because they're the
bobbies.
There's police that's available with guns these days, but I mean they're not walking the streets with guns.
Well, exactly. And in the United States, it's like every cop has the gun on their waist, and then they have the taser, then they have a bat, and they have the AR in their car.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got to say that I'll never forget the first time I came to America in the 80s. It was a shock. When you to even see that gun on something, from an outsider's point of view coming in, it was a real shock to see somebody with a gun.
So
it's the first time I'd actually ever seen a gun.
Really? Okay.
So you're walking through customs, and it's like.
So the bobbies didn't carry guns back in the 80s either? Really?
We had a wooden truncheon.
You tear some legs up with that thing, huh?
I'll say, like, it's interesting. I went to I don't know how I ended up there, but I was at the Pride Festival or the parade like two or 3 years ago.
He doesn't know how he got it.
It's all coming out to that myself.
Yeah, and like there was cops at like every intersection because we're in downtown. Like they were shutting off all the streets in downtown, and there's cops at every intersection, and they're just slinging AR-15s across their chests, and it's like. I get it, like your point is to protect, and I'm not talking to the cops, I'm talking more from a societal standpoint, but it's like it's crazy how like that is what we need feel safe now. It's like you need militarized individuals with rifles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the role
In
of
the
the police is, I thought it was protect and serve.
It is, but some of them wear that badge and they think that we're beneath them.
Yeah.
And they're the authoritarians when really, man, listen, you're here to protect me.
Do you think psychologically it's a good thing? My understanding is that most police officers come from the. Do you think that's a good start for a policeman? Because I think there's good and bad with that.
Well, there is only because I think there needs to be a level of training that's there. That for the individual that's becoming the police officer, and there's a bit of discipline. I think being in the military, serving our country, you do learn that part about discipline. But sometimes you might have some folks that have dealt with some things and maybe they don't handle it perfectly because you're not in a war zone, so to speak, every single day. Well, I guess depending on the neighborhoods you control, you could be, but nevertheless, man, I think training isn't long enough for to become a police officer. I think it's 6 months or so.
Yeah.
You can just go through it and you're out there on the streets patrolling with a gun and everything else. So
it's also like the narrative that is formed while you're going through all this, like the message that the organization is sending to you as you're being indoctrinated into the system.
Right.
It's like, as an American, if you join the Marines, right, from like 2005 to 2000 whatever, the story was you're going over there for freedom, to protect your freedom and all this other stuff. But what did you end up doing? You're pretty much colonizing a foreign land for oil. But it's like this whole narrative is like a big game changer in it. And a lot of that is formed through video games like Call of Duty.
Right.
And like what you
Right.
see in Hollywood with Transformers, when you see the military, you think of like, cool, like these guys are protecting
Absolutely.
and all this other stuff. So,
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
I take back what I said because I've just looked it up and it says only 19% of police officers are originally veterans.
which is
So that just goes to
worse. That's worse. The fact that they're not veterans, because that just means you have people out doing the 6-month training. At least if you're in the army, you go through like
and I think you have a
basic
our
training, all
veterans.
that
I
other
think are
stuff.
very disciplined. I think they're very. I really do. I think they're very
veterans
disciplined.
have to go through a certain level of training to do what they do, period. And I'm not saying you don't get a few that are kind of out there, but it's a commitment to serve the country, and you're in there for when you sign up. It's not this I don't want to do this anymore. No, you got to serve your term.
Yeah, you're on a contract.
And you got to be there and do and go to whatever they tell you to do. You got to do it. So,
And then also it's got in here those 6% of general population has served in the military. 90% of police officers, veterans.
and here's another thing. Here's another element that you don't even always think about. When you go into the military, it's diverse. You're going to have people that don't look like you. You're going to be sharing slop buckets. You'll be looking in the
Sleeping
bunk,
with people.
taking showers with all kinds of people that don't look like you. When some of these cops, man, they go and they're put in neighborhoods to patrol that they've never been around.
With this,
black people
with
that
this,
never been around Latino people, and so all you have is what you've seen or what the media has pushed out to you. So you don't even know
the
how
black
to
guy
behave.
and the black guy and the Hispanic person are fighting on your side and covering your back.
Yeah, it's they don't even know how to react to it.
Right.
Another quick feat. U.S. Department of Defense has been named the largest employer
Yep,
in the
I
world
knew
with
that.
3.2 million employees on payroll. So it's a corporation, really. Think about it.
A lot of people
And it's not just in the United States. We have bases
all
over
over
this
over the world.
rock.
And I'll tell you what's so fascinating about that statistic, Mr. Williams, is in a communist country, all right, and everything's militarized, and I don't think we're militarized as much. That is a really hitting statistic. Like all these countries, they have to do time in the military. Do you understand? So,
Well, and also think about it, right? I think the only reason they're able to become so successful because what they do is they force a lot of people in poverty that the only job that pays well
is the
military.
Exactly.
And that's why you
in
have
this
a lot
country,
of,
or
that's
no,
why you have,
yeah,
in this country. That's why a lot of like these poor kids from like projects and all these stuff, they either sell drugs or they end up joining the military because you go here, you get a bonus, you get all this other, and like $16,000 to a kid from the projects is a lot of money.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of money for me.
for anything, right?
But like for them,
there is
that
a lot
is
of there is a lot of people though
Yeah.
that join the military because of the
Yeah, you get college
because
education.
you know they get the
Benefits.
bonuses like
Yeah.
paying for if you want to be a dentist. Or,
But that's what I'm
They're going to
that's,
school,
but
yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
part
Or
of the
to GI
sales
Bill.
pitch. It's like, hey, you join the military, you'll get to go be a doctor and do all that other stuff, which is not the case.
No,
90% of the time.
Carolyn, my wife, you know, she teaches dentistry at one of the universities, and there's kids there that actually become a dentist, go through the whole thing, you know, and they,
From the military,
yeah, they're on military scholarships.
yeah, it pays for it. And
And
quite
then,
frankly,
so then they end up being a dentist, and they haven't got, you know, they haven't got a large bill at the end of it,
Oh, yeah,
which
for
is just
sure.
ridiculous.
I think it's
It's a smart choice.
It
for them.
is to go and say, hey, you're going to serve your country for at minimum 4 years. I'll say you deserve it. Yes, they should pay for your schooling for sure. Quite frankly, so to Jack's point, I think it is kind of that ticket out of the dump, so to speak, for some kids. I mean, I even talked to my son about it. You know, hey man, it's something you can look at doing. Travel the world. I mean, we were already taking him all over the doggone world, but he could go and do it
Do it at the government's expense.
at the government's expense.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, any hoodle, we need more cops that look like the people that they patrol, I think, in the neighborhoods. But that goes on to our next point, because as I was looking at that, just here in Houston alone, and we're at a shortage. I mean, city employees, they're filing lawsuits. They're basically saying we can't continue to overwork and burden the personnel. So people are quitting these city jobs that were, you know, guaranteed to provide and so on and so forth, and they're short, man. The crime could be exponential if something doesn't turn around, you know, in our area. So it's a to quote, I think, was it let's see who, Harris County Sheriff's Office. His quote was, "We cannot continue to overwork and burden our personnel. People are exhausted. They're quitting by the hundreds. At what point do you stop the bleeding? The ship is sunk."
And I agree with that. And I only think the situation's going to get worse, because I think that there's a lot of people living on the, you know, the poverty line. That's, you know, I told you this morning that when we was talking before the podcast is, you know, the future of work. You know, we've got robotics coming in. How do people feed themselves? Because there's, you know, I understand there's like a cross thing, because there's some industries now that are paying, you know, they're paying more per hour because they can't get the people. But then that just gives more reason to bring in robotics, you know, to do these jobs. Indirectly, in the long term, I think it actually does away with jobs. You know, they reckon trucking will be gone in 5 years' time, because trucks are going to be autonomous.
Yeah.
You know, I was telling you about there's a restaurant. You wasn't here, Jack, but I was telling you about James about a restaurant in California called Cali Burger, and it's what they call a cobot. And a cobot is basically they do less people. And what they basically do is they have less people, but they have a robot flipping the burgers and cleaning the grills. So you go in there, you don't speak to anybody to order your burger. You've got like the new McDonald's things, where you press a button, and what you've got And you know, it makes it more like you want, because when there's people there, there's always that: is the burger done properly, the right amount of sauce done properly, and everything.
Yeah, when I was in Vegas, it was a thing I passed. You can't really see it, but it's a bar, and these are the robot's arms. And you go up and you order whatever drink you want. Like, you can pull the most random drink possibly think of. I mean, these are all the bottles, and it just it does it for you.
Really, whatever you punch into the deal.
You want gin and tonic with like 7 shots of whiskey. I mean, I don't know if they'll do that, but but like you can see like it does it. I wonder if there's a video, but yeah, I mean.
Is that one of the hotels, or is that?
This was like, you know how you can like walk through off the strip, and then there's like just shops that you can go into and stuff. It's one of those. It's casually there.
Well, I can say this: I don't want a robot replacing my police officer. We saw that movie in the 80s, and it didn't end well. RoboCop. Yeah, so I mean, it falls back on the leaders, you know, in the city. Hidalgo, this judge, of course, they've been on her. We've had, you know, year after year of these failed inspections and them going to the commissioner's court to ask for more personnel, and nobody's done it. And he's kind of at the point to where it's like they don't care about getting anybody in there. So if you're looking for a job, I know we just talked about experience, but man, they need help.
I
mean, he went on to say, and I couldn't believe he said this in this.
Yeah, I know what you're about to read. I was like, that's the biggest self-report I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen of Harris County, if you get robbed, raped, or shot, hold your breath and pray, because we don't know if we have the personnel to respond.
And I thought this was interesting too, this part right here where it says, let me tell you how bad it is. We have detention officers that are soiling themselves. And I'm going to be honest, I don't believe this.
I don't either.
I just don't believe that.
You're a grown person.
Yeah.
If I'll tell you right now, if I got to go too bad doing this podcast,
Perhaps
I'm getting up and walking out.
Perhaps he works at Amazon as well.
Exactly, those stories, right?
Hey, even Amazon admin don't believe that stuff is happening.
That's just not a grown person. Come on, man. Yeah. It's probably that bad that they almost want to.
Yeah.
But don't tell me that there are people actually soiling themselves.
What's your position on your feeling that, and I personally feel that the police over here get involved in community policing as well. I think.
You mean civil stuff?
Yeah, like domestic.
No. Community policing.
What do you mean?
So in other words, in Europe, what we do is we have community officers. So what they do is actually go into the area, they talk to people to try and get rid of the divisions in some of the areas. Like there's a lot of black kids, if you want to, that don't want to approach a policeman because, you know, they feel that, oh, well, are they going to arrest me? Or, you know, I told you about, you know, the black talk they have, you know, with the cars and stuff. So there's an outreach program where the police and some social workers will get out there to try and breach some of them gaps. Do you think that, because at times I feel that at times that's what the police do over here. They get involved in, they need to maintain the law, but at the same time there's some community things that they do that they shouldn't really be doing. It's not really their job to be. But they have an outreach program.
They need to stick to handing out speeding. That's what they do.
I think if you have this now, of course, we can't just have free reign. Say, hey, if you got a problem with your neighbor, handle it yourself, because people will act a fool, and folks will be getting pistol whipped and shot and all kinds of crap.
They'll be heat checking real quick.
You save that for the book.
But the deal is, you can't send a social worker out there to try to diffuse an argument with. I think
no. It's not so much that. It's just to try and keep kids away from, you know, drugs or whatever it is.
I think those programs can exist in the city for sure.
You know, I mean, it's like in even in the States, actually, in some cities, they've got things where like after school programs.
Oh yeah, sure.
Where, You know,
have a big-
it try to keep the kids out of problems.
Big Brother,
to give
Little
them things
Sister
to do. And
organization, they have
I
those
think
too.
that's so admirable.
Absolutely.
I think that does
to me-
the complete opposite of how to do.
Really?
I think the programs where they teach against drugs actually form those kids to. Because when I look back on it, I didn't even think about doing any of that. I was told by them, don't do this. It wasn't ever like, oh, I want to do that, you know? And then, oh, actually, they're telling me not to, so I'm not going to. The point when I came across drugs is when other kids were bringing it around me. And I think the deeper question there is, why do kids have drugs?
That is a question.
And usually it gets from their brothers, their sisters, or even their parents in some instances.
So by having them after school programs, would it keep them away from that? I mean, that actually goes back to a point that you brought yesterday, is when you say, you know, parents need to do more.
Oh, yeah, or be allowed to do more. But I'll tell you what, Vito Corleone wouldn't have someone bringing around drugs around the kids.
Who?
Come on, man. Come on. Y'all don't know who Vito Corleone is?
No, I've never seen this guy.
Not a clue.
Come on, the Don.
Oh, the Godfather.
The Godfather.
Yeah, the
Come on.
I've never seen it.
He wouldn't have. Jack, you have never seen The Godfather.
No, I'm not a movie guy.
Your assignment today is to go home and watch one of the greatest movies ever put in creation. But anywho, yeah, I mean, it falls back on, like you said, how are they getting the drugs? How are they even getting them?
And why do you want to take them?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think, and even to throw this in there, it's the same thing with like school shootings. And the problem's not the drugs or the guns. It's why do you want to shoot up the school? It's the psychology behind
exactly
it happening is what needs to be
So how would you stop
brought
it?
up. School shootings? We'll find out why it's happening. I don't think I don't think us as a society have looked, find out why it happens. Every time it happens, the left and the right just go back and forth over what was
Gun
the
laws.
reason about gun
Yeah.
laws. No one ever does studies into the psychology
Ever.
of the kids, of the mental health of the student body. For example, I bet all those kids were getting bullied, and I bet none of the school or the system, they probably did something, but what did they actually do? They probably just told the kids like stop, gave them a detention or something. I think it was all preventable down the line.
I would agree with that.
People just overlook it, especially teachers. And defense of the teachers, they get underpaid for like half the stuff they do. So I do blame them, but at the same time, it's like there's a reason it's happening, and we're just overlooking it.
Yeah.
Because we want to talk about the gun didn't kill anybody, the kid killed somebody on CNN and
I
like, all
agree.
these TV networks.
I agree, but we get on, like you said, we
Yeah.
fight about it, and
Thoughts and
doesn't-
prayers, and then it happens again.
That's it. That's it.
That upsets me so much, though, in the sense my thoughts and prayers are with everyone. We'll do something about it. That's how you...
If your thoughts and prayers are really in it, you would do
Absolutely.
something about it. But most of the time, people just say that because it just sounds like the right thing to say. It's comforting at the time.
It's like the knee-jerk reaction
Exactly.
to stuff like that.
So, well, I don't know what we do to fix it. If you get to a position to where you want to do something, you got to get involved. So a great segue. Look at here, Manny Pacquiao. We all know who this guy is. If you don't know who he is, where have you been the last 20 years? But Manny Pacquiao is actually running for presidency in the Philippines. You know that?
Yeah, but that's... I think that the way world politics is going now, you've either got to be a TV host or you've got to be a sports personality.
Well,
Enter a political race. It's like Imran Khan from Pakistan. Cricketer.
who knows?
He
But
made it.
I think
He got
Manny
it.
Pacquiao had a fight like a few months ago, didn't he?
Oh, really? Did he win?
No, I think he got knocked out.
That's what I thought. Okay.
At least I thought he got knocked out. When's his last fight? Oh yeah, August 20.
Yeah, it was about a month ago.
Yeah, he lost by unanimous decision. But so he went from the boxing ring a couple months ago
To the political ring.
to the political ring. Man, he's up for the biggest fight of his life. if he hadn't realized. But I don't know a lot about the Philippine government, but apparently it's pretty corrupt over there. I do know that it's been
a lot of
labeled as a poor nation, but they have delicious food and beautiful women, as I understand.
Have you been to the Philippines?
I have not.
I would like to go. I'd like to go to the Philippines and Thailand and China.
It'd be nice to check it out.
Laos, and Vietnam. I mean, I'd like to go to them countries.
So they have something called the Laban Party over there in the Philippines. I don't know who what the other side of it is, but they're more of a left-wing political party. I think that's who the leader is. But yeah, Manny Pacquiao, man, he's running. Maybe we should fly over there and vote for him. You think they'll let us vote without an ID?
No, it's probably the election's probably stolen. No, it's funny because I don't even know why, but the other day I just looked up Manny Pacquiao because I think I saw a picture of Floyd Mayweather, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot he fought Manny Pacquiao. And I just looked him up, and it said he was a senator or something. I was like, well, what? And then a week later, because I followed him on Instagram and everything, and then a week later he's running for president. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is. Yeah, I think he's been in the Senate for a while in his deal. So now he's running for the Republic of the Philippines president. So there you have it, Manny Pacquiao. This is when the scandal comes out.
Yeah. Now we see the sexual harassment.
Now exactly. It'll be all over the news. Did you know Manny Pacquiao used to dog fight? He used to have dogs fighting them. Yeah. No. He actually put gloves on and punched the dog in the face.
Boxing the dogs.
Yeah, it would be, we're bound to hear exactly what happened with them. So you do this next one on me, man. This Border Patrol, it's all over the internet.
I know.
Now.
I don't know what the answer.
Man, look.
I really don't.
The problem with
Trumpy got criticised for putting them in cages. Now we put in whips on them. And in all fairness to everybody, I don't know. I just don't know what the answer is. What do you do with these people?
Well, man, here's my fear. That it's gotten to a point to where some of these guys don't even see people as people.
Yeah.
They don't see them as human beings. Why would you even do that? And I don't know if that article even included a picture of it. I know that picture has been floating around, but that guy, if they find out who that dude is,
I'm sure they know.
He's gone, man. It doesn't look good, man. Here's my thought. My cousin's an attorney in Alabama, and I told her this morning that we've never seen these pictures, and I'm not saying you do it to anybody, but are you doing this to these people because they black, or they look a little darker than what you're used to running and chasing?
Why
would you do that to any
Let's go to the
human
basics, though. Regardless of their black,
any
white,
human being, yeah,
brown, grey, you shouldn't be treating anybody like that.
Did you see the clip where he's like over the person? He's like, the cop says, "You're using your woman or something." He's like, "That's why none of y'all will ever come to this country." Like he literally says that to the immigrant.
Man.
And it's just
it makes no sense, and these people are leaving these places.
And the part that is so difficult as well is it's a little bit like perception. If you basically tell people we're not letting nobody in, you can't come in, then they think twice about coming. If you turn around and say, "Oh, come in, welcome arms," then everybody wants to come.
Exactly.
And at the same time, from an American standpoint on who we are, we sort of want to be welcoming to an extent. We don't want to treat people with whips. It really becomes a problem because what do you do with the amount of people? I mean, look,
exactly.
What do we do with that?
That's a lot of people.
I mean, you brought something up yesterday when we was talking about this.
I did.
And I asked you directly, I said, what do you do with this amount of people?
Make it easier to come in.
And my idea was a lot of these people are paying these illegal mules or whoever to bring them to this point. Take their money, set up some housing right there at the border, set it up, take their money. while you process them through the system. But listen, don't pay these idiots that are continuing this, because that's a whole business.
Yeah.
These people are paying thousands and thousands of dollars.
They save up like months worth of like not even minimum wage, like half the minimum wage.
Half.
Yeah.
They take this money and they pay these folks with no guarantee that they're going to get in, and then they don't maybe. Take that money, build some houses, stop the wall, build the little units for these people to stay, and it's a temporary kind of deal. Listen, we got to get the system together. You're probably going to be here for the next 90 days, but while you're here, you got to go and work and do blah, 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 and put them to work to do some kind of wage or something.
Right, and then the other side, get and build in the infrastructure. But I mean, the other side of this is, and I'll tell you, for me personally, when I first come in, it's not easy to get into.
It isn't.
That's the problem, though.
I mean, immigration services are just slow.
On purpose.
Even your attorney will turn around and say, stay here and go in, but I want to warn you, it's going to take you, 6 months.
What about where you come in at, though? Because you don't see this problem at the north borders. You don't see it.
But it's also because in the north, it's a lot more, like, you don't have the cartel forcing everybody around.
Right. But at the southern borders, it's the worst.
Literal war. It's Iraq, like
essentially
a couple hundred miles to the south. We have another form of Iraq going.
And you think about it. I mean, what are you? These are human beings. Of course, you can't just open the floodgates to everybody. But man, what can you do? And honestly, I don't think there's been enough attention given to it. I don't know what's going on. If there's a meeting coming up, I don't see the vice president down there. Nobody's really giving attention to this problem.
Right. Totally. But it's just, I think your idea is actually a pretty good idea. At least it's constructive.
It is, and it could bring some revenue while they're waiting.
And that's the one thing with people that are here illegally. You can argue that they shouldn't be here and everything else. But at least if they was here in some form, we could take taxes from them. Now, some of them do pay taxes.
Right.
Some of their children, and this is really what I've got a problem with some of the children, they're in the military. They fight for the country. Mm-hmm. They're putting their lives on the line. Yet we can't give them citizenship. But there is another point to that, which is, they're here illegally.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're here illegally, you got to deal with your consequences. But the process of getting an opportunity to at least just get the appointment, you can get some kind of residency or something. It's just so cumbersome to people that it's like, man, these people are risking their lives. And do you see anybody with masks on under that bridge?
No.
So if they let those people in, I mean, it's, I don't know.
But
right in Texas.
And, the other addition to that is sort of, what you're saying. There's got to be somebody pushing that in Haiti, using that as a business, like you said. Push them over here.
Oh, there's a name for it. It's like the wolf or something.
So coyotes.
The coyotes.
So
coyotes.
people are pushing this as a business without making their.
It is absolutely a business, man. It is. I had a lady call my wife. we went to church with, and she called my wife to ask if I could. That the coyotes had gotten her husband. If I could come to pick. I was like, oh no. I'm not coming to pick up anybody with some, because my wife didn't. She said something about some coyotes, blah, blah, blah. I said, babe, she's talking about, like, they got her husband and, like, took him somewhere, or they're trying to get back over here. I was like,
not today, Joe.
Not today. Can't do it. Can't do it for you, man. Lose my number. But yeah, so I think the answer would be just constructing a facility that can house these people. And get the media out of it, so they're not.
Move the prison industry over to
So some house
Immigration industry.
build something where they can come in and live and commune and get the freaking media out of there, making demonizing whatever it is, because you're trying to help the people. 'Cause I think they just exacerbate the problems many times, and then process them to get them in and just say, hey, let's do it. Let's get them in, and if we can count what 10, 20 million votes overnight to determine the presidency, we can move some people through the line to get them a little card so they can get a job and work. That's just me. But they got to work. I'm not saying give them a bunch of money and free up a bunch of stuff. They got to work.
And they will work.
They will definitely work. They will outwork most of us under the table.
Yeah.
So, I'm to that point, man. So we're talking moving into construction. What do you think about this new construction we're dealing with just across the country at this point? That was one of your Market Watch articles, right?
It was.
What are they talking about?
What they're basically saying is that
high margins.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That is a red flag to me right here. These two words.
High
Red
margin,
flag.
man.
Basically, the builders are focusing themselves on the higher end homes. They're making more because money is cheaper that they're basically going to make.
Not even higher end, Steve. High margin.
Right.
So they're using. Have you heard of this
More
stuff called crick? You heard of that material?
No.
Hold on.
CRIC?
Let me make sure I spell it right. Crick.
But one of one of the things that bothers me personally, and perhaps it's people will say because I'm a real estate agent and a broker, but what concerns me is there's some builders out there at the moment that are not paying agents commissions. And what people need to do is to be smart and say, why are they not wanting the agents to pay commission? Is it because they basically want to make more money on the house? Or is it because they don't want the buyer to be so educated about the buying process? My personal feeling is it's a bit of both. Because if they're a good agent, they know what to look for. They know about the inspections, they know about the drainage, they know about the construction of the roof. A good agent has specialists that they can bring in to give second opinions on different things. And there's some builders at the moment that just don't want, I was selling something yesterday, 3 or 4 years ago, the builders were begging, to come to our offices for our office meetings and giving us all these fancy meals to get the agents in and, yada, yada, yada. That I personally feel it's a huge mistake for people to buy any house without that representation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you just sometimes you can be buying yourself a load of problems. I told you the other day about one of our buyers that came in, going to buy a house for $225,000, did her inspection. It needs $25,000 worth of repairs. She goes, looks at it, and I told her, why don't you look at another house in the area, which is $339, so it's a $14,000 difference. Perhaps you haven't got to do $25,000 worth of repairs.
Exactly.
And money's cheap at the moment. And I think it's the same sort of thing. We've sold new houses with some new home builders, and we told buyers not to buy this house. It's brand new construction because the drainage goes the wrong way. If there's, a flooding problem, which in Houston sometimes that happens, the water just drains straight into the house. And because we do such a large volume of new construction homes, and we knew some of the owners who have bought different houses, we haven't bought any houses on that particular street that I'm thinking of. Then we found out that on that street, 4 houses flooded previously.
Oh, okay.
Only because we've got an insurance company.
Sure.
That just goes to show that I think it's a strategic move.
Well, they're just they're lining their pockets with money.
Well, it goes back to the whole, timber's up by 42% that we spoke about 3 months ago. I haven't seen the prices be lowered by anything at all.
They're not going to lower them because once we get used to paying a certain price for something, They're just going to leave it there. It won't go back down. Like the baggage fees. When the baggage fees got added in the airlines, because the gas prices were so high, they went back down. They never went away.
That was my biggest disappointment. That payment structure, it was my biggest disappointment when I went to Europe recently. I thought, wow, we've got a good price on a ticket here. Then when you do the ticket, they're charging you for
bags.
They're charging you for even a little handbag. Not that I carry a handbag, but my wife does.
Everything.
It was sort of disappointing.
And
bit of a cheap shot, really. I mean, that's all.
The quality. This is how I knew that these builders, they're in it for this money. So if you pull up Starlight Homes, okay, Starlight Homes is, let's see, sure I got it right. Starlight Homes is a entry level builder, so to speak. Well, no, they're. I think they're. We got some here, if I'm not mistaken.
Well. There's some in Houston.
Yeah, but Starlight Homes is. Was it David? David?
It's a line of Saratoga.
No. It's a line of builder. It's a David Weekly. Hold on, I'm gonna find out. It's a major builder. Hold on, Starlight Home. I want to say it was the David Weekly. No, Ashton. I think it was Ashton Woods. I think it's Ashton Woods, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, go down to the bottom, Jack. Very, very, very bottom, right there. Starlight Homes is an Ashton Woods company. Ashton Woods, they put out a nice home, but because their prices were higher, they weren't getting it. So you got your LGIs and your KBs and those kind of volume builders. They weren't dipping their toe in the market, so they figured, you know what? I'm going to make a cheaper end home so we can get in there and get a little bit of this. And this is what they put out. So my thought was, would Louis Vuitton ever decide they're going to make some bottom basement bag to sell in Walmart? No, they're not going to do that. If you want a Louis Vuitton bag, guess what? You got to go to Saks or to the Louis Vuitton store or Neiman Marcus to get it. They're not going to go down and back their brand down to something that's going to be this lower level kind of deal.
I agree with you.
And it's a money grab.
But the difference is you can't live in a handbag, but you need a home to live in.
You do. But thinking that the history that Ashton Woods has had as a home builder to put out this kind of product.
A lot of the builders do that, though. Not just Starlight Homes. There's a lot of builders that have a lower end home, maybe even a middle, and even a high end home.
You just don't expect Rolls Royce to put out an electric car, or this little hatchback Bug Beetle or something like that. Because they do put out a nice house. No knock on Ashton Woods, but
my concern is
to get
not
in the
necessarily this builder, but some of the reviews that they have. Some of the reviews that you honestly look at it and think,
is it real?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be there. I mean, you can get enough people to go to your.
Did you know there's an investigation into Amazon at the moment?
Mm-mm. On what kind?
On for reviews.
Oh, really?
I'll pull the article up.
Yeah, I did not know that. Doesn't surprise me.
I have the article actually.
Doesn't surprise me. They do ask you for a review though. Once you order a package.
One of the parts that I just want to touch base with you is, and I'm not talking specifically for this company, but one of the biggest mistakes. I know you've definitely got an opinion on what I'm going to talk about now. But a lot of the builders, they give you all these upgrades, give you the closing costs, they give you, so-called deal on the financing, all, the upgrades and everything else. But you and I know, only because we're experienced, over the term of the loan, you pay more, don't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
you know.
Because
And
usually they'll charge you more
when
in
you
fees.
really look at what you're paying over a time, it's not beneficial at all, is it?
Because you can end up paying more in fees.
And if it's,
a higher interest rate.
negotiated properly, to be perfectly honest, you know, if you've got a good agent that negotiates properly, then negotiate the title company anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's why, but kind of back to the point that you brought up, it's important to hire a professional. And when I say hire a professional, you're not having to pay them. It doesn't cost
you anything.
It's not costing you anything.
What it shouldn't do.
It costs you time.
Yeah, time. But you need to get a representative that is
understands the industry
in your behalf.
And it's
the builders don't work for you.
Right. And how I normally reference this is, I said, it's a little bit like, well, I've got a problem with my foot, right? It just so happens I'm going to go to a GP, but I really need a surgeon after my foot.
Right.
That is the same. It's the same with buying a house. A good, experienced realtor bought some new houses, knows the market, sometimes even knows what the house across the street's gone for.
And
you know, don't before it even goes on the MLS.
Don't take your anecdotal experience that, oh, my mom bought a house by herself. You don't need a realtor. Yeah, you don't need a realtor to buy a house. But that doesn't make it wise to do it without a realtor. It's important that you get someone that has your interest at heart, that can help explain things to you, that can negotiate for you on your behalf. And that's in any transaction.
You don't need an attorney to go to court. You can go in there and stand in front of the judge and say what you want.
Exactly.
Is that the best idea? Probably.
You saw that joker, I can't remember his name, that black guy that was representing himself in the courtroom. The judge said, oh, you know what, you did a pretty good job, but 40 to life, you're going to jail. I mean, it's like, man, come on, that's not wise. It's not wise to do it. It's stupid. Not your realm. But anywho, as we move on, so I'm a little excited as I sit here in my chair because I did dive into the madness of the new iPhone 13 upgrade. Because I have an iPhone 10, I have been getting notifications.
You said you'd been waiting for it.
On certain apps, man. You know, it just wasn't enough changes. Mm-hmm. But I'm getting, when I try to download some apps, oh, you need a iPhone 11 or newer. And I'm like, okay, when I start getting those kind of notifications, it's time for me to upgrade because I can't get what I want to get on this particular phone. And I did order, man. I jumped in. What I did find...
You didn't have to pay for it, did you? You can order it?
Well, I had an upgrade already available. So I think it's going to cost me like $11 because they are taking back in your old phone, which I think is an awesome because I have old phones at my house from the first models that came out, and you can't do anything with them. They're like a paperweight, but they're giving you credit up to $1,000. I know with my cell phone company, but I think all of them are giving some type of credit for you turning in your phone, and that's even down to the iPhone 8 that they mentioned. So
I tried to do that with my phone, but they threw it back at me because it's all
well, they don't want your junk, man. They want you to turn in something that they can use that's in pretty good condition. So well, one day we want to get you switched over to iPhone, though, Steve. We'll bring you to the light one day. But nevertheless, I'm in it, man. So it's supposed to be here on Friday. I've already got my case in the mail. So I'm supposed to have it on Friday is what they tell me.
Pretty cool.
Got my wife one too, so I can't leave her out.
The two articles that I brought up that we got, and hopefully Jack will bring it up. In a way, they contradict one another.
The articles do?
That? Yeah. That's the part that I can't understand. It says the iPhone 13 has longer wait time than any other phone. Okay. Then in the next breath, there's another one that basically says that the iPhone 13 isn't on the same level as the 12. The iPhone 13 has longer wait time. Look, see that?
Found its wait time of 3 to 5 weeks for a higher end. Is she talking about to order it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I signed in, because they do everything off of California time, so which is 5 a.m., 7 o'clock here. You had to go in. They let you put everything kind of in the bucket. but you couldn't pay for it until 7 o'clock. And I did that. Then I went back and I looked again at like 4 o'clock that day, and it looked like they were still available. So I don't know where this guy is, but maybe he just got in too late. Because it's one of those things where you got to order it right away.
No, I'm not really an Apple person, but at the same time, I think it's a good product. But I thought the two articles that I brought up, I was sort of, they contradict one another. That's the part that I don't. If you go to,
I think this one is talking about the wait time as far as ordering.
Right. Okay.
But this other one
is running late than 12. But then if you go to the other article that I brought up, all right,
that's talking about the setup.
Yeah, but who is Max? Like, who is this guy to say that the setup looks worse? I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either.
Well, apparently, all these, what they do is they get these Apple reviewers, professional reviewers. Did you know that? To review the phone.
Oh yeah, you see
this on YouTube.
Yeah, you see them on YouTube all the time.
And then they
That's a smart thing to do.
they get so far to do it, and then they release them all at the same time.
Yeah. I've never seen this Max guy though.
Yeah, I say like I know who MKBHD is. He said the new phone looks great.
Oh yeah, he always puts stuff out, and it's good to see what he's talking about.
Now the truth is, this iPhone, in retrospect to like how they traditionally level up the new phones, doesn't provide that much more
difference.
But
right,
it is still an upgrade. Like it's a better phone.
It's definitely an upgrade for me.
Is it worth it now if you have the iPhone 12? No.
I don't think so either.
It's not worth it. But if you have like James's phone, yeah. But like I have the one that came out last year. I don't even care that the new iPhone's coming out because I'm not looking to get a new phone for another 3 or 4 years.
If you got a 12, you don't need a 13.
Yeah. Now, dude,
about an 11. If you've got an 11, do you think you need a 13?
Probably not. I mean, 11 is still pretty good, but it's a different chip in it. But I mean, some folks just got to have the newest thing.
My biggest gripe with the Apple is I wish they had it so it was upgradable. But we all know if it was upgradable, then people wouldn't buy it as much. I mean, there's some people that want the latest iPhone, and regardless, if it's got a different number on, they want to be there to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those people are stupid. And shout out to my friend Christian. He's like that. Like he bought the last iPhone 12 Pro.
He's getting the 13 too.
And he's like telling everybody. He's like tweeting about. He's like, yeah, dude, just order my new iPhone. And we're like, dude, we don't think that's cool. You look like an idiot.
That's like, a waste of money. I looked at the specs, man.
And they're not cheap, are they?
No, they're not cheap.
How much is the 13?
Mine was $1,200.
Yeah.
And is that a 512 or is that a 1?
No, I didn't. I still have 150 gigs on this phone. This is 256. I didn't go to because I use the iCloud. So,
but the new one has like a terabyte.
A terabyte.
It's like, geez.
What are you doing on your phone that you need a terabyte?
Yeah, but there's more people doing video.
Yeah,
and all
I was going to say that. There's an
the
option that you got to have at least a 256 because it shoots in 4K or something on one of the settings on the phone. Which,
I'm one of the Galaxies at the moment, though. That on one of the 22 Galaxy that they're bringing out in January 2022.
Mm-hmm.
By all accounts, is they've got a fast processor or something. Is it Amazon or something? There's a new processor that they're bringing into it. No, there's an Olympus camera
in the phone.
Yeah,
really.
The 22, they've got an Olympus camera, and one of the big processing companies are providing the processor into the Galaxy. I think is it Amazon?
Amden?
AMZ.
Oh, who knows? But which one is that, Jack? Is that the?
This is comparing Galaxy 21 to the 13 Pro Max.
Oh, it's similar. More RAM on the Android.
Yep.
I personally, I like the Galaxy, but I didn't particularly like the rigidity of 21. I came off the 20. I dropped out. But I didn't feel it was very rugged for the eye throw. For point of view, I say to you, do you need it? Do you want it? My first question. The second question is the value. Got to give me value. Got to give my value. Really didn't feel that Winner tie.
There's no like win. It's because the only thing Apple does that Android doesn't do, aside from like all these actual statistics or whatever, is you can link your phone with all other devices. That's what makes Apple
priceless for me.
But with the Android, it's a phone. Like it stays on your phone. For me, if I want to text you from my watch, my laptop, if I want to FaceTime
it all works.
I can do it from all those things. But you can't do that.
I was in the kitchen the other day, and I left my phone in the kitchen, went to my bedroom, and somebody called me. Well, my iPad started ringing. I just picked up my iPad and answered the phone.
Yeah,
because it's linked. So that part there, I think, is pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's the only edge that Apple really has.
And the downside to the new Galaxy is that they're not doing the upgradable part, the microchip. It's a fixed, just like Apple does. They're going to the, with what?
What do you mean, the processor?
Samsung, you can put. I can put an SD card in this, and I can upgrade it. I'm going from a 16 to a 32, from a 32 to a 64.
Oh, for the memory.
For the memory.
Uh-huh.
Apple's never done that.
Oh, right.
All right.
You got to buy the memory from them.
On the 22 that's coming out,
they're doing the same thing.
They're doing exactly the same thing. You can upgrade it.
It's money in the magic, baby.
Yeah.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
And that's really, and I really think that's going to hurt Samsung, personally. Because the reason why I went to Samsung more than else was because it was upgradable.
We are welcoming all bandwagoners. So come on over to Team iPhone.
There's like workarounds to that. Like, for example, every time my phone gets full, I just offload all the data on my phone to a hard drive. So I have like the past 30 iPhones, quote unquote, I've had. All my pictures are on there. All that.
How many iPhones have you with?
No, I'm just saying because every time I clear my phone, right, it's a new phone in theory. So I've done it more than 30 or 40 times. So I have all this information.
There's me thinking it's cheap.
Yeah, and we use the iCloud too, so we got that couple terabytes of storage. So my wife's always talking about printing out pictures. I'm like, babe, nobody prints pictures these. But I'm going to surprise her and print a bunch of pictures and put them
Polaroid.
There you go.
Have we told you my Polaroid? My Polaroid story.
No.
One of my Republican friends died recently.
Yeah.
Pancreatic cancer, very sudden, very sad. So I said to his 82-year-old sister out in Tennessee, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll, clean his unit out." So bit by bit, I've been cleaning his unit out. Not cleaning my house, of course. Cleaning his unit out. Anyway, he had this bowling ball bag and he had an old Polaroid camera in it. And I turned around and said, "Oh, throw this out." Anyway, my daughter's seen it and said, "Oh, no, don't throw it out. I want it. And then he turned around and says, "Well, I had a Polaroid camera. Where did you get your Polaroid camera from originally?"
Ex-relationship I was in, and she just left it, and I just snagged
it.
So
I turned around to Jill, and I said, "Jill, what do you want this Polaroid camera?" She says, "Oh, they're the in thing at the moment." She says, "You can't even buy the film." She says, "You can.
You can.
And it's expensive."
It's back, man. It's
but what is it? Is it a nostalgic thing?
Probably.
Yeah, it's a vintage thing.
That's what it is. A vintage thing.
And there's also iPhone apps you can get that take pictures like Polaroids. People just like the old shit. That's just how it is.
Everything makes a
What do
circle.
you mean? Just because I got a typewriter on there, you're saying I like the old stuff?
Why did you buy a typewriter? It's the same reason people...
Nostalgic.
Yeah,
it reminds me of my parents.
Exactly.
Same reason people want Polaroids.
I never forget when Dad was running his business. Every time I go home, there's my mom typing invoices.
On the typewriter, right?
Yeah. All right. Come on. Let's sort of move on.
Let's move.
To more
Take it away, James.
supremacy.
Well, we all know that the dollar is
struggling,
just clawing on to life. It's on its last leg. This didn't surprise me. That when I saw the title of this article, but what did surprise me is to see that China has already created their own digital currency, basically, that they're accepting. And when I think, was it the Olympics next year? Winter Olympics are next year in Beijing. They're gonna be test driving that thing next year, bro.
Yeah.
And this is something I think that's in the long run really going to hurt America, because originally the dollar was there as the world.
It was kind of the
standard
benchmark. Yeah, exactly. Not anymore.
And it's really
we print it like water.
It's really going to hurt America. We've got to start taking the lead.
I was trying to find the name of the thing. I thought I saw the name of the currency. Because we know El Salvador already accepted, or they're accepting digital currency.
Well, apparently when you go to China,
so a digital currency basically is a
new
new form of
it's like
money.
renminbi or
Actually,
ren something, REN.
Payments and money already is digitized. You don't use actual physical paper notes, right? So this is just a new modern form of money, but now packaged in a way that could be even more what we call fungible, transferable, and has very interesting properties. You can even program this money and have a new functionality that didn't exist before.
同时呢，在公司楼下也有很多商户或者是餐厅能够支持数字货币的使用，因此也蛮方便平时的生活以及就餐。
Yeah, it's going to be, and I think there'll be other countries as well. Hasn't Russia doing digital currency as well?
I hadn't heard about Russia, but I know that this is a step. I mean, China's leading the way on this, and we're having the stinking Olympics there next year. I mean, come on, man. This is that. So every country will be there to test this. So they're gonna experience it. So if you're not into digital currency, you better get you a little bit of something.
Pay yourself for an Olympic visit.
Yeah, I got my son set up yesterday. I'm like, son, you need to put a little bit of this in there.
And man, and I wish, like, there's nothing I wish more than I had been doing since I was like 16.
Oh,
if I had been doing this, I was 16.
There was a story the other day about some kid that got into this when he was 11 years old.
He's 18. I told him, I said, bro, what I know now, I can make you a millionaire. So let's do this.
No, for real.
I'm going to use you as a guinea pig.
Yeah.
I'm going to pour it all into you.
Some kid bought some Bitcoin when he was 11 years old with his pocket money. He's now worth like $15 million.
I believe it. Man, I can't remember.
And he's now 15, 16, 17, whatever it is.
Name of this free currency. Because I don't think it's on just a regular market for us. But it was something like RENMB something or another. It was almost not even, I don't even know how you pronounce it. I don't know what it's even called. I read the article.
PBOC.
Well, that's the People's Bank of China. But it's the currency. Oh, fuck. The name.
Digital currency. There it is. Look.
What is it called? It was
DECEP. Go up, Jack.
It's the digital currency electronic payment.
That's the UN. That's the currency itself. I thought they had given it a name. I wanted to watch it if it was going to pop up somewhere public. RMB notes. What does that stand for? Underneath the picture, man counts 100 RMB notes. I don't know what that. That's the actual paper currency. I don't know what it was called, but we'll keep watching the China digital currency, whatever it's called.
Oh, whatever it is, it's worrying.
Yes, and now here for the
finale,
the linchpin of what we've been waiting to talk about.
This is so
the bread and the butter.
Here it is, Jack. RENMINBI. RENMINBI.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy to remember.
Oh my goodness, that's the current.
Hey dude, you owe me 5 RENMINBI for the McDonald's last week.
Yes. RMBs. I think that's what they're gonna end up.
They'll be using it. I don't even remember what it's called.
Yeah, we'll have to remember. Right now, I think it's worth 15 cents in American dollars. So
Go all in.
go all in. Get you $1. Take $100 and just buy a whole bunch of it. If you can even get it, I don't know. But nevertheless, here we are at this young lady,
This is such a sad situation.
Gabrielle Petito.
Yeah.
So she went missing back in August, wasn't it? Was it August?
Yeah.
That she went missing?
That's pretty cool. I've never seen Google do this. They have a little timeline.
Oh, yeah, that is pretty cool.
Oh, this is when the body was found.
Take it.
It goes backwards. So 2 weeks from the 13th, so we'll just say the 3rd. Or I guess it'd be the end of...
End of August, maybe.
Yeah, end of August.
Well, actually, so this is the couple that made stops in Colorado. Instagram post showing them, blah, blah, on July 26th, up to August the 12th. They plan to document the trip on a YouTube channel called Nomadic Static. And I didn't know that she even had a YouTube channel. I think it's Static with a K. She had a YouTube channel that she posted a video on August the 19th. There you go. Nice camera.
Yeah, so that's them. That 8-minute video.
Billy and
She
Frost.
kind of talking, yep.
All the chocolate mountain.
And they said she was last seen on the 24th, so basically 5 days later, checking out of the hotel in Salt Lake City with this dude, this Joker. Don't know what his story is, but and now here we are. He been missing. They found his body here a few days ago, and then old buddy disappeared.
Well,
but go ahead.
He disappeared. And then they found the body.
There you go.
Yeah.
He disappeared. Then they found the body. That's what it was. So I think she was reported missing on the 11th, and he got reported missing after all of that. So I don't know. It stinks.
The thing that worries me is going back to the police thing. I mean, the police, some guy called up, and reported a domestic issue.
Right.
And
On the
they've
911
got it
call,
on
right?
video on a 911 call. And, and then, it becomes an issue, that poor girl has been found deceased.
Yeah.
As a homicide.
But why do we all know about this, though? Why is this such a big deal? What is Gabby Petito and this other Joker? I don't even know his name. Brian something or another. Yeah. Why do we even know? Who cares about them? They're just two people from Florida, right?
There's something about them when I look at them that they have in common that really brings attention to my eyes.
I wonder what that is. Oh!
Go on.
They're two white people.
There you go. We spoke about it. I don't know. We feel the same way.
They are, man. And this is, they are not, and listen, it's tragic that she's there. She's gone. Whether he was involved or not, it matters not. He's gone. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But
we don't want to take that away from the
Don't want to take that away. That it is terrible.
But there are people who go missing every day.
Every
sex workers,
day.
Children.
You can poll right now that people that are a little bit darker than these folks that go missing, and it's not national news.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
And that's just as sad.
It is. It's sad. So how do we pick and choose who's going to go national? Who's going to be
And this has gone on
missing?
a complete national basis.
It is.
National news.
It has been, man, my phone with the alerts have been blowing up about, they found the body. They don't know if it's hers. And I'm like, well, okay, well, dang, who is this person?
And the strange part about this to me is the fact that, they went to see his parents and, speak to our attorney.
They don't even want to talk to anyone without speaking through the attorney. The parents. Why?
And then his parents drove the car. What happened with the car, Jack?
Yeah, they drove it back to the house, and then they decided to call the cops.
And where did they pick the car up from?
From the park where he went missing. And then there's this lady, I wish I had her I pull it up on. But
Do you think they're going to find Brian? His name Laundry? Do you think I'll find him alive, or do you think?
no,
I don't know.
I think they'll find his body.
I know they've taken out all the videos that were on the Nomadic Static. I mean, it's just that one from a month ago, but I don't know. They're looking to find him.
The one video that I seen with the police was pretty disturbing when they said that
He was hitting her.
he was hitting her, he was slapping her.
Yeah, that is the.
And then she turned around and said, well, you know, I don't know, I was rude or something to him, or whatever it was. I was abrupt to him. Or
Like it was
whatever
justified.
It was, yeah, you know.
Come on.
And then even the police officers giving a personal instance. But, you know, when I divorced from my wife, it was, you know, not a good situation.
It doesn't.
You
Come, it doesn't
know,
have to
we
come
all
to
got
blows.
emotional.
Absolutely.
And personally, I think he was just nice about this to try and find out, because a lot of people that are abused won't discuss it
Right.
outside of the. I think it's going to be interesting to see, one, if they find, two, if they
So
ever
go
find.
ahead and tell me.
I mean, they both had sizable followings on social media. I think she had like 1 million followers on.
Good-looking girl as well.
Yeah.
But it's just such a shame to lose somebody.
Yeah, like these people right here were in the same park. Here you can just listen.
You've been on and how you just came across this footage of Gabby and
So-
Brian's van.
She put a video out.
Yeah, I mean, we live full time
Of
in
where
our
they saw the
bus,
van,
so
just
we
like
travel
when
to
they were
the
driving
city
in.
full time,
Yeah,
and we had
and
just
then, like,
ended
2
up
days
needing
later,
a
they
place
found her
to
body.
camp for the night, and happened upon the Spread Creek camping area.
They had a GoPro.
And when we
somebody was
pulled in,
driving
we've
down
got
the
double
street, they had a
GoPros.
GoPro
So we have
on,
one that faces front and
and
one
then
that faces my husband while he's driving.
They seen the truck on
And
national
as we're
news,
going
didn't
in,
Yeah,
he
they're
talked a little
gonna show
bit
it.
and totally forgot to shut the GoPros off. And the GoPros just keep
they? Here it
rolling.
is, look.
Yeah,
And
and they
we
found her
passed
body over
by
here
their van, or a
in the
white
back
van.
behind the street
And
line.
Oh,
the
wow.
white van had
And there's
Florida
a
plates. And we were
YouTuber I was
excited 'cause,
watching,
like,
and
we're
she
Florida,
opens up
you know,
Google Maps
hometown
and
for
like plots
today.
it and talks about it, but I
so
just
we
I
wanted
forgot
to
her
stop
name.
and
It's on
talk
my
to
other
them. But
account,
they, the van was dark. It was
So
all
it was-
closed.
So you're going through all your
So the body wasn't found very far from the van.
No, just beyond.
But
the
that was,
trailer.
but that video didn't surface until like last Thursday or Friday or
Oh, so
something.
the van was gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was already when they had came back, because the original timeline was off. Like the timeline that the cops gave
Gotcha.
was completely wrong. And so then when they adjusted the timeline, I think she says in this video, this lady right here, she says that she never looked back in her footage because the timeline was wrong. And then they adjusted the timeline, and one of her friends was like, "Hey, you were there this day. Like, why don't you see?" And then she went back into her footage and she saw the van. And she even says they're from Florida, so that's why they were gonna say what's up, because they saw the Florida plate. They're like, "Oh my god!" But it just, no one was at that van.
And then one of the national news outlets was doing a report from Venice. Is that where the family live, in Florida?
Yeah,
They're from Florida.
But both families from Venice,
Yeah, I think
Florida?
they're both residents. of
Questions and
Florida.
comments on screen.
But the body was
like
found in Wyoming, correct?
Yeah, from that. Yeah.
So yeah, they're still looking for him. These are the people I've been watching.
And are the police looking for him in Wyoming, or they're looking?
No,
for
they're
him
looking for him
nationally now.
in Florida. But it's like, also, man, I wish I had that lady's channel, because she explains it. Where they found the car and where they're looking for him are like 20 miles different spots. So that lady is alleging that the family is sending the police on a dumb chase right now. Like that, it's
Yeah.
it's
And
they're
the
not
whole-
even looking in the right area.
The whole time he's down at the border of Del Rio
Yeah,
in that group of people hiding.
yeah. And people have allegedly seen him in Alabama.
Really?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
FBI,
yeah.
The FBI
I've seen
didn't
that. I've seen
confirm
that.
it, but
yeah.
they said they know about
Yeah.
the
People.
like the,
Yeah, that's yeah.
Man,
They know
this
it's
is
being reported.
crazy. This is crazy.
But
It's a
yeah.
crazy story.
But
It's-
I think those parents,
they know what's up.
They need to get clapped, because
They know
they're in.
something.
Well, if there is an inkling, that what you just said, there is going to be. Sure, there'll be repercussions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're innocent till proven guilty.
That's what they say.
But There will be repercussions, and I'm sure there'll be civil lawsuits.
And of course, you want to know the why behind it. Like, well, why?
How long have they been dating?
We're about to get engaged, I think, or they got engaged.
I was going to say, I thought she had a ring
fiancé.
on. She had a ring on with a band or something.
And then they called it off right before they went on the trip. They went on the trip, and then he came back by himself. Sorry.
She was young too.
That's what's sad about it.
Whew. So if y'all know any details that you can share, I mean,
Call up your local authorities.
let us know. This lady, I mean, she had a lot of followings. I think the YouTube had 300,000 or so. Instagram had 1 million. He had like 300 and some odd thousand on Instagram. So it's crazy. It is crazy. Shoot, man, that's all I got today, man. That is all I have at the table.
Very sad.
Got 300,000.
Oh yeah. He's got 1 million.
Oh shit, she does.
1 million. So I guess you could call her a social media.
That is influencer
star.
status. You got to end
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, that is definitely. Does she have is she verified?
Don't.
Unverified with 1 million followers? Oh my gee whiz.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. So nevertheless, I guess we'll find out what happens.
It's not the right way to get your views.
Is that?
Well, there was a conspiracy going around that this was all just a play.
A hoax?
Yeah, for their.
Man, I hope. Well, they found her body.
Yeah,
so
but well, that's what I was saying.
so
Like,
much for that
after they found the
conspiracy.
body, that
Well,
conspiracy.
I just want to go out there and plead with people. Please don't go out and do this just to get your views.
Absolutely, that's dumb. To even
That's
try to
just
do
not.
that.
That's just not the right way to get your views up.
Not at all.
4.5 million views.
On that one video, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, until next week.
Definitely
Hope you have a
next
good week.
Absolutely. If you need to get in contact with us, of course, our information is down in the description below.
Like the video.
Like the video,
Helps us out.
please share it.
And please comment and share.
Yeah, we appreciate all the love. We'll be with you guys next week at the Olympian Table.
You bet. Take care, buddies.